Hello, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Shady. It's really nice to meet you. Been a long time. Oh no. No, fuck that, scrap that shit, man.
No, we could definitely keep that in. Nice and Jake. I like that actually. I quite enjoyed that.
I'm not meant to be the...
Repeat, definitely keep that in.
Definitely. So yeah, hello, we are Shotgun the Orcs. We're back for our 5th episode, part 2 of the 4th episode. That dropped today. So
that didn't sound confusing whatsoever.
Right, so this is part 5. Episode 5, which is the second part of episode 4. It's a part 2. Just listen, you'll understand. Thank you very much. So I'm Aidan, here with Tom and Jake, back here for the weekly podcast. You know, we're here, we're in the lounge, we're fucking shit up, man. We're keeping it real. Big up.
You've been listening to a lot of Charlie Sloth, haven't you?
Well, yeah, no, funny you say that actually. Charlie Sloth has got his new show out on
Apple Music, Beats One.
Yeah, man. Have you listened to it yet?
Yeah.
I listened to a bit. Well, they've got there's one where you've got to have Apple Music to listen to it, and there's one where it's like a 2-hour version. But then there's another one where it's like you can
15 minutes. So it literally just takes the fire in the booth bit and then puts it onto Apple Music as a track.
Yeah.
And then it's just a 15-minute long track of just the fire in booth on that episode, which is pretty sick actually.
Yeah, I want to give it a bit more of a listen because it's got some quite good names on it. I think like Heady One's on it. Fredo's on it.
K-Trap, is it?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure.
Some of the names, honestly, I didn't really know that well, but yeah.
That's probably a good thing, though, man. I mean, it puts you onto them, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty good.
That's why I quite like radio because you know you don't go out to listen to these people, but it just you kind of trust the.
Do you know a funny thing just came to my head when I was driving to the dentist this morning? I was listening to Radio One.
Hell, yeah.
And Radio One were doing this thing. Excuse me. Unpopular opinion where people phone in and give like their unpopular opinion. So you had like people phoning in saying like, "Oh, noise cancelling headphones, I don't like them," or "I don't like steak," or whatever. Just like their unpopular opinion.
Don't like steak.
I don't know. And then this bloke phones up and all he goes is, "The Battle of Hastings never happened."
What?
Well, I can imagine like some people throw in some pretty like it's a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
And then Greg James was just like, "What do you mean it never happened?" He's like, "Greg, it never happened." And they're like, right, he's like, "I'm just going to play a song and then I'm going to get back to you. Hold the line." And they play a song and he gets back to him like, "Right, I need you to elaborate. What do you mean the Battle of Hastings never happened?" He's like, "Yeah, it just never happened, Greg." And he gives like this really weird like conspiracy theory as into why it never happened. So then they proceed to get, do you know that historian Dan Snow?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, right, we'll pick this up later. We'll see if we can get Dan Snow on the show to like kind of fill in on this theory.
Validate it.
Yeah. So like this, the Radio One goes on, and then eventually Dan Snow comes on and phones in, and like maybe we just went from there. But I thought it was so random. Like,
see, man, this is exactly why I don't really listen to the radio. But a great story anyway. But what else have you guys been up to? What have you been watching?
Well, following up from your point just there, your point you just made there, Jake. I saw a tweet where it was something about the flat earthers.
Yeah.
And it's just like the tweet was like, flat earthers around the globe.
Well, it was a play on words, everyone. For those who missed that.
And I just remember, I just saw it and I just thought it was funny as fuck. But yeah, apart from that, man, I haven't really been doing anything. I saw my car. Who fucking would have known that a broken car would have sold, which was cool. I got a lot more from it than scrap gave me for it. So that's cool. I've been editing the podcast. Yeah, we had a delayed podcast actually, didn't we?
Say again?
We had a delayed podcast actually. No, that was like 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
This is so confusing, man.
We part 1, part 2. Never do them again.
Basically, we mess up the schedule and then it just like has a knock-on effect. So
yeah,
we're recording episode 5. This is effectively part 2 of what the last episode was. Hip hop fashion through the eras.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Boom. That's cleared that up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did anyone watch the Fire Festival documentary on Netflix?
Yes, man. I watched it last night actually.
What a clusterfuck that was.
Yes.
Which is a direct quote from someone, I believe.
I remember it. I remember it being on the news when it happened.
What was it, a year ago or 2 years ago now?
And then, I don't know, when was it?
It's a couple of years back,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 2 years ago. It must be 2 years.
And I didn't think about it since. It's just one of those things. I never really looked into it that much. I didn't really think about it. I kind of probably just briefly saw it and thought,
I was the same as you, man.
And then this documentary on Netflix, and then, man, What a mess.
There's one on Hulu as well, but I think you can watch it on YouTube. It's exactly the same one. Like my mate texted me and said that you can get it on there, so I might check it out to see if I can get any more perspective. But this one, like, I don't know about you boys, but I felt like genuinely anxious watching it for the people organising it.
Yeah,
obviously
I felt so sorry. Just to clarify, it was 2017.
Cool.
17, right.
Yeah. It was horrible. It was like, cause you just knew that how fucked they were. And you know, towards the end, the bit when they're just like, we just don't even, like, most of them didn't even care anymore.
I know, man. I think like the most disturbing part, and it brought a whole new meaning to the phrase "taking one for the team." I won't go into it. If you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But
water bottles.
What the fuck, man? Like Danielle, my fiance, we were watching it together, and she was like, "I can't believe he just said that." But I'll park that there. But that ultimately, that Billy McFarlane dude, what an absolute psychopath.
Yeah.
I mean, the icing on the cake was after it all came out and it was all exposed and it was all kicking off and you know, it was like towards the end of it, he then has the audacity where I think he's just come out on bail, and then and then the people who went to the festival started getting emails from I can't remember the bloke's name that who was on the email list, and it was like
his little mate.
It was like VIP to the Met Gala, like something you can't buy tickets for. It's like a personal invite.
Like Victoria's Secret, whatever it is. But I think to give a bit of context to what we're actually talking about, and unless you've been under a rock, so there was this like company called Fire, a guy called Billy McFarlane partnered with everyone's like favourite rapper Ja Rule. Oh man, it's murder. Anyway, they partnered up and they created a promo video and with a view to create like most kind of exclusive music festival in the Bahamas. Yeah. And it's the selling point. It was Pablo Escobar's like island at one point. Yeah. So they like got all these models on board, all these like world famous models. Got them to do like a photo shoot. They had a mad party. All got really really drunk, and you know they sold this dream to really kind of like rich preppy kids and said, it's a really exclusive event. So, I mean, even though he extorted people, basically the guy like extorted loads of investors. He inflated metrics to make it look like he had more money than he actually did. At one point he said, I've got Drake secured for it and everything else. He was just basically like bullshitting his way through everything.
Wasn't even on Escobar's island in the end because they strictly said you cannot call it Pablo Escobar's island, and then he goes ahead and calls it that, and they're like, right, you're not having the island anymore, so they moved it.
I couldn't get over it because, you know, you just spoke about the people like they're sort of like chumps, you know what I mean? Like, they're just selling us more stuff, let's just sell them more shit. These guys want to live the dream, you know, they don't give a fuck, like, they just want to spend money. And,
as he got closer and closer to that date, the more anxious I got, man. It was just like, literally, I think they used like old like hurricane shelters, and they were like advertising them as luxury like cabanas and tents and
luxury
stuff.
Cabanas.
I was just like, my god! And the cheese sandwich went viral. Basically, some dude took a photo of a cheese sandwich and tweeted it, and it went viral.
And that's what shut the whole thing down. Basically,
it's just absolutely.
The funniest thing was when it was like the day before the festival, and there was this fucking storm, and it just fucked everything up. Yeah. You kind of think to yourself, how would it have gone any better if there wasn't that storm? Because I think the whole part of it was like all your tents are soaked, it's flooding, all the matches. It wouldn't have been that much.
Well, that Billy, up until the end, he was just like, we can still pull this off, you know.
There was no system, was there? Like people were like scrambling for their luggage, and like. But to be fair though, even though he did like commit like fraud, which at one point I think Ja Rule is actually recorded saying, "Oh, it's not fraud, it's just false advertising." I was just like, "Oh my god, man, you're fucking you're in deep shit."
I mean, granted, nobody died, but we did flat out lie to the public about what we're giving them. I mean, that's fraud. Like, and that's not okay. Like, as a company operates,
that's not fraud.
But,
Jake, would you take one for the team for the podcast, mate?
No.
Would you suck a dick to get ready?
Why is it always me? Last week you were asking me if I'll tarnish my name and call myself a pedo for like 50p or whatever. And now you're
I think it was 500 grand.
Right, okay. Either way, no. And no, I'm not taking one for the team for the podcast.
Inflation.
That's your job, mate.
Mate, I run the.
But back to my point though. Even though this major like tangent there involving some action, but even though this Billy guy kind of committed fraud and extortion.
Yeah.
Like part of me just thought, well, he's just doing the gene pool a favour, the type of chumps buying those tickets and spending like thousands of dollars going to an island to watch Blink 182. Like,
I know, man. Who
was...
tweeted that? Who tweeted saying? I can't remember. Part of the documentary was about like
the guy on the radio. No, he did. It was the interview, wasn't he? Was it Ellen DeGeneres show?
That was it. He's on the. Yeah, he's been interviewed.
Saying like, guys, you know, if you paid 1,000 tickets to go and see Blink 182, then you're a chump.
It's Darwinism. Like it's all time. Yeah, it's a prime example of Darwinism.
Looking for that dream, and it's just chasing that. I mean, for me, because my background, my interest is in marketing, digital marketing. For me, like, and I looked into very few articles afterwards. Like, it was the perfect example of how social media and influencer marketing works amazingly. You know.
Well, it raised a very good.
But conversely, like, you need an end product which they didn't have.
Yeah, no, of course.
This then led on to
all because of that tiles.
Yeah,
it was literally all of that.
All those orange tiles. Yeah. But it was in the news today actually, which links very well with this. In that influencers on Instagram have to now put hashtag promotion or hashtag ad.
Yeah.
If it is an advert for something, otherwise they can be like sued, go to prison or whatever.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Because there needs to be some differentiation. And I think there have been a few there was a few people from Made in Chelsea that were posting up things and not saying it's an advertisement, and some of them got in a bit of trouble. Like, it's still happening. Like, people still getting a lot of trouble for it. You'd be surprised.
Damn, man, that's crazy. Did anyone see Asim Chowdhury's tweet about it? You know, your buddy G from People Just Do Nothing.
I saw it, but I can't remember what it said. Remind me.
Yeah, it was basically like along the same lines as like, you've got shit mates if they don't take one for the team, and something involving Evian water bottle. But yeah, anyway, watch the documentary.
You're a shit mate then if you're not going to take one for the team. Right?
Fuck off.
Anyway, check out the documentary. Well worth watching. Something else I've watched fairly recently, a new Killer Mike show that's on Netflix, Trigger Warning.
I haven't seen that. What's it about?
So, effectively, Killer Mike, I've only seen one episode, and the kind of like takeaway I got from it, he's tackling these kind of like big kind of political issues, mainly in the States, but he adds kind of like a kind of a funny kind of, he does it in a humorous way. So the first episode was around him just buying only into the black community, and he referred to it as like living black. Right. So what it boils down to is like in the States, the economy, like they had this bar chart, and it said that like the Asian community have they typically hold on to like $1 for about 21 days. So it means that they only buy like Asian goods, and it's self-sustaining.
Right.
And then slightly under that is like the Jewish community, the white community. Matter of days, and then the black community was 6 hours. So he wanted to prove a point and only live from like black goods for 3 days leading up to a Run the Jewels gig. Just to give like, a bit of background, I mean, I'm guessing that most of our audience will know who Killer Mike and Run the Jewels are, either from Run the Jewels or like if you're like old like me, you remember him back from like Dungeon Family and Outcast days. But he's basically like Atlanta-based rapper.
Right, yeah.
And one half of Run the Jewels. And he's a political activist as well. But he's a really, really funny dude. So the whole thing of this episode is he's just going around and he's like using only kind of black owned products. At one point he goes into like a strip club and owned by black people. And he's getting all these dances, and then this Asian stripper comes up and starts grinding on him. He's like, "No, sorry, like get away from me."
What?
And he tells he can't buy any weed because he usually sources it from like white farmers.
Wow.
And he's like, "This is the most sober I've been in my adult life," and he just literally can't eat anything. He can't like drink anything. He's just like, "What the hell?" But it's cool. He goes around and actually like sources some like products from the community, and it's all about how you can like self-sustain it. And it boils up to this Run the Jewels gig. An LP turns up for a bit.
Nice.
But yeah, it's cool. It's like basically like a commentary on like classism and the economic I guess state of affairs in the States at the moment. But as I said, there's a humorous spin to it, so it's not heavy at all. Like at surface level, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's probably not something. But it's actually really, really interesting and worth watching.
That's cool. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that. I'll definitely have to watch that. And also today I don't know how much we're going to go into this, but so you guys know that in the future we are wanting to do more promotion for artists and stuff like that, and big them up. And we've got had a few messages so far, so that's really cool. We've got plans to put you in the podcast in the future, different tracks. So keep sending us through stuff through the email and on Instagram as well.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Did anyone see the Pharaoh Monch video for Yayo? It's like basically like a cocaine themed
Melodic embargo, please, you know what's in the cargo. I ship keys, my nigga, never eat escargot. Kia cops, car, cop keys and key largo.
track all about cocaine.
You sent it on the chat though, but I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Holy shit, man! The video is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's just like
Oh no, I did. Yeah, no, I saw it. Sorry. Yeah, no, yeah.
it's just scene after scene of like
You're right,
people
Jake.
doing.
Yeah, I am. Sorry, I was just on my way with the fairies, and I was thinking, what was he going on about? Because I got confused with the Royce the 5'9" cocaine song.
Oh yeah,
And that's what I'm thinking. Oh no, I didn't watch that. But then,
My bad, because that's probably my fault because I also sent these boys that video earlier. Royce the 5'9", cocaine, and the Book of Ryan that came out last year. Sick track, finally has a video. The Pharaoh Monch track though, Yayo, so a really like catchy chorus, like
cool.
yo, and it's in the cut with basically like famous people in the movies and stuff, just doing line after line after line.
Yeah.
So it's true to its name, but big up Pharaoh Monch, always sick, organised confusion. If you know who I'm talking about, then big up yourselves.
Big up yourselves.
Hell yeah.
I've just returned from London on the weekend, completely unrelated to hip hop. I went to see the 1975 with Emily.
Get out. Pulled a plug.
Yeah, but
only joking, man. We're very inclusive here.
we are very inclusive, and great band. Honestly, like I really like them. Emily really likes them more than me, but I think they're a great band, and they were really good live as well. And again, another arena tour of mine, another O2. But yeah, really really good. It was a fucking sick night. And that was that. And Drake tickets also came out today. He's just announced his UK tour. Was going to get tickets, but for £140, no.
Is that per ticket?
Yeah.
Is that just
standing?
Is that just standing?
Standing.
As well? See, mate. I mean, that's
ridiculous money.
Shit, I can't get over that. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I get it's Drake, but that's a lot of money, man.
I know,
Like,
man.
I think there should be a cap at tickets.
like bare bills to pay.
Like, yeah.
140
like,
a ticket.
There should be like some I think 50 quid for a ticket is really expensive. I'd pay 50 quid to see someone that I really want to see, but fuck it, hell man, that's a lot of money.
That's the thing. It's a cap. It's a monopoly, isn't it? If you think about it, it's the
Yeah.
same with clothing, which I'm sure we'll get into later on.
Yeah.
But
They should do it like they do football in the Premier League. Away tickets are capped at £30.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that. That's crazy, man.
So I think that's a good way of doing it. But I don't know how you do that with tickets because
I think the whole ticket thing needs to be regulated because you've got other like sites like Ticketmaster, Viagogo, and there's a lot of shit that kind of goes on with that in terms of like reselling and prices.
Yeah.
I think they're clamping down that a bit more though because I've seen recently in the news they're trying to regulate it a bit more.
Just pisses me off, mate. Because all I want to do is just go see like an artist perform.
Yeah,
Like,
you get like bots and stuff that.
Yeah, it
Exactly,
just really
man.
fucking winds me up
So
like,
this
because
does-
it's Drake in it, and it just drives all this people wanting to buy it. It's the hype. It's that. They're probably not even going to go to this fucking thing.
But also,
it just drives the prices up.
But also, like as much as like I do like these artists and their music, I find that like arena tours, depending on it, I mean, it has to be a spectacle.
Yeah.
Like with Drake and like when I saw Watch the Throne, Jay-Z and Kanye, it was all very like a big like spectacle, like light show, productions, ridiculous. But that's kind of the reason why you pay the money for it.
Yeah, true.
Whereas it takes the intimacy away from it. Like I think you spoke about it a few weeks back, Aidan. Like I like going to gigs where it's like, you're gonna get to the front, like you see like the support acts wandering around the crowd after like they've been on. It's just like more authentic.
It doesn't take you half an hour to go for a piss or like an hour and a half to grab a pint from the bar.
Exactly, and typically you're amongst like people who have the same taste in music as you, rather than kind of teenage girls. But
was that where you were surrounded by Drake?
Mate, I think at Drake, I've seen Drake before, and
I mean the 1975.
the 1975. Generally, like no, not teenage girls, but there are a mix of random people were there. Like I remember we were in Subway afterwards, which was fucking manic. It was so busy, and it's like sometimes you just get those like smelly kids. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I know.
I don't know what
I kind of know you on about
like
the ones-
Greebs.
Oh, Grebos.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Grebes was what.
This hits Aidan quite hard.
I knew one of
This
you
cuts
would
him
come
deep.
back with that,
It
man.
cuts him deep.
Yeah.
Are you a Grebe? You're not a Grebe.
He's an ex-Grebe.
I would say I'm ex. Back in my.
To be fair, right. Let me stop you there, right. So this is an interesting conversation because do you think that like back in the day, people were more ashamed to like listen to what they really wanted to listen to? We know when they're really young and they're like everyone's kind of like I don't know so much about you boys, but when I was like 15. Like 14, 15, 16. If you were like into like metal and like headbanging music, you were like immediately kind of outcast, and you were like, oh fuck that noise, man! Like, what are you doing? Whereas now, I think people embrace like what they genuinely love, and it's much more eclectic, much more accepted. Everyone's kind of like listens to what the hell they want now. But back then, it was kind of like, I quite like this, like
Yeah.
I quite like this track by Korn or like Limp Bizkit or something.
Yeah. I think I would agree with that. I think for me it was more. I wasn't already not really embarrassed, but just there was a quite diverse taste in my sort of school. Everyone was more sort of mainstream.
You come from a 21 Jump Street generation, like the one where he goes back to school and like everyone's two-strap and he's like, why are people one-strapping? And like everyone's like tolerant and accepting. Like, whereas like when I went to school, it wasn't like that. But anyway, yeah. So speaking of gigs, like we posted it. Last week, the Gods of Rap Tour coming up.
What the fuck? The line-up to that, mate, I'm gobsmacked. Like, I can't get over it. It's such a sick line-up. Unfortunately, we can't make it, can we?
I don't think so. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm tentative. I'm going to look into it.
I'm really like sort of tempted. I think it would be...
You two can't go in without me.
Well, we can bring like a blow-up doll.
No, I'm joking.
Can we borrow your hat? We'll just take your hat and your clothes.
You can go.
Guys, what about me?
Oh, mate. No, I am on holiday, but
So you've got
take one to the
just stream it.
So you've got Wu-Tang doing 36 Chambers.
Yeah, man.
You've got Public Enemy.
De La Soul.
And you've got De La Soul. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good night of hip hop. But all I will say is, I'm not sure which order they're going to come out and perform at, and brace yourselves for a late night because you've got some divas in those lineup, especially from Wu-Tang. They might keep you waiting. But there you go.
It looks sick, and that just came out of nowhere. If you ask me,
no one knew that was happening. I think I saw on Facebook.
Oh yeah. So this is it. DJ Premier is hosting, isn't he? He's spinning the turntables between each of the acts, and he's hosting the entire thing. So that will be sick. So
ticket prices. Hold on, I'm just having a look now to see how much tickets are going to be. So standing, 85.75. Fucking hell! And then sitting is 90. Seating is more expensive.
I'd pay that.
To be fair, I mean, like if depends on who's there in the Wu-Tang.
To me, like it looks like a sort of a festival. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't. It's not like you're going to go see one person. Mm-hmm. See fucking like Public Enemy, De La Soul, and the Wu-Tang. Yeah. And DJ Premier as well. Like.
Yeah,
that's
exactly,
incredible.
Man. It is,
it's at Wembley as well. Pretty decent arena to see someone.
Yeah.
I think with Wu, like, I mean, when I went to see Wu-Tang like fairly recently in Bournemouth, like it was just a really like the lineup wasn't great, to be honest.
Right.
Like you didn't have Method Man, you didn't have Ghostface, Raekwon wasn't there.
Yeah.
Who else wasn't there? RZA wasn't there. So it was basically just like, Juzza, like Master Killer, Inspector Deck.
Yeah.
But it's still like You God. It's still good MCs, and they were like, I'll bring out Street Life, and we were just like, oh fucking Street Life. We want Meth, we want Ghostface, we want Ray, but it was just like one of those things. But I don't know, like I've seen them a few times in recent years, and again, it's like one of those one of those kind of groups. It depends what day you get them on.
Yeah.
Some days they'll come out and the energy's been great, and other times they just don't look like they want to be there.
Yeah.
And they just are looking quite old now,
Yeah.
and people are probably going to fucking crucify me for saying that, but yeah.
No,
hopefully they bring it at this, because it does look like a really, really good lineup.
Do you know what I am looking forward to? And I don't know if you guys have listened to Sussed yet, but we are based in Bournemouth. Sunny Bournemouth. And we've got quite a good local hip-hop scene actually going off here. There's a promotions group called Move On Up Events. And they've actually got a show coming up as well soon, where Verbity and Lewis Parker are playing, and that's on the 8th of March. So
two UK legends there.
Yeah, man.
If you haven't heard of them, look them up. Lewis Parker, legendary producer. Verbity, legendary MC.
So that should be sick. I was surprised at like when I saw the lineup and I saw Verb 2 was coming to Bournemouth, Bournemouth, a lot of you guys, the fact that you probably are thinking like, what, they're from Bournemouth, is probably like, why we're surprised that Verb 2 is coming to Bournemouth,
I actually saw Verb T in Bournemouth at the Winchester. No, to be fair, he was like hosting a small event on a weeknight. He wasn't performing, and him and Leaf Dog were there just kind of wandering around. And I think a few kind of like local heads were like showcasing what they can do, and they were just there presenting it. He looked high as a kite though, just kind of like nodding his head on the stage. That was pretty sick. But it'd be good to actually see him.
I'm looking
a lot of time for Verb T.
I saw him in Bristol at the Lanes. You Bristol heads, the Lanes, and he was really good at Pitch 92.
Oh yeah.
And that was really
producer.
good. You got something to.
I know. I just bringing the Shotgun York's Pedo watch back in. Do you remember that Where You Find Me track by Verb T? And he's like, they say leave me alone, no T don't play. I'm like Michael Jackson in the non-pedo way.
I love that track, man.
Oh, it's so funny, man.
When I say leave me alone, nah, T don't play. I'm like Michael Jackson in the non-pedo.
Anyway,
as Stan, the Shotgun York's pedo list hasn't been updated yet. It's still who's got R. Kelly and
Africa Bombata.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anyone else on yet. Well, there will probably
any local pedos want to get on the list?
No, do not contact us. Jesus Christ.
Jake, will you take one for the team?
We've got a new Cole track dropping tonight.
J. Cole?
Yep. Dropping at 9. It's dropping at 9 PM, but whether that's Eastern, Western, I don't know, but it's definitely not UK. So I'm just looking out for that. I'll listen to it tomorrow because I know it'll drop by then. And then he's probably drop a couple of solo projects this year, but we've got Revenge of the Dreamers 3 dropping probably soon. I think it's done now from judging by Dreamville's Instagram, which I'm looking forward to because it's going to be packed full of some sick artists. It'd be good to see what Jid does and that.
Quality, check him out.
My best mate Tom, other Tom, not to get confused with this Tom, and probably the many other Toms that are in our circle.
Just to clarify to Podmanity, like we're not friends here. We just
Jake, I thought I was your best mate. What?
You two are my boys, but
hell yeah,
me and
acquaintances.
Blood is thicker than water,
yeah.
Whatever that means.
Bruv, we're in a
just
WhatsApp.
Sounded cool.
We're in a WhatsApp group though, man.
I know exactly.
Oh man. Anyway, so Tom, massive Cole fan.
Big up TG.
He talking about Jid. He said, listen to. I don't know if it's the first album or the album before the one that just came out that you really like.
DiCaprio 2 isn't a sequel album.
It's not. Sorry,
it's sick, isn't it?
I to be fair, when I first listened to it, I was thinking, okay, this isn't really what I normally listen to. Again, from the previous episodes, I'm very much into like sort of boom bap. And this was, even though it is still like that, it's a more different sound than to what I normally listen to. But I really enjoyed it, man.
I thought it was
really, really good.
I think he's doing something incredibly unique.
Yes,
I think his beats are insane. I think the opening track. It's not the kind of skit, but it's called Slick Talk. So track 2, but like effectively the opening track. The way the beat switches up in that track.
Yeah, man.
So it starts off and that's why I said to you, I think I texted you the track.
Yes,
I said bear with it because it switches up after like 10 seconds. And when that bass drops and you're just like, I was just like, man, this is next level. Yeah. I'm fucking feeling this. So yeah. I've been on repeat.
The other album was The Never Story. So yeah, go check that one out.
Never Story. Who's that by?
Jid as well.
Yeah. So this is from 2017. So I've given it a listen. I really, really like it.
I was just like one last thing, and this kind of ties back into our UK versus US conversation we had. And we love talking about like split profits, Res One, the kind of UK heads. So has anyone seen the music video for Building Up by Res One? And he just basically talks about working as a builder, like on a building site. It's like a prime example. It's like a prime example of why I love UK hip hop, because it's just talking about something that our American counterparts would never even consider rapping about. He's just like he's like, I'm a builder, I take after my old man and my uncle, whatever he says, and he's just like rapping about doing a 9 to 5 on a building site. I'm like, this is so sick, man.
It's quite cool because
it's so real.
think
It's
that's,
real and it's normal.
That's something that I love about UK hip hop, right? Is because, you know, it's very much relatable to day sort of thing. You know, a lot of these rappers like are still working, you know, sort of like normal like 9 to 5 sort of jobs.
Yeah.
And it's quite cool that they're rapping about the stuff that, you know, all the listeners are fucking doing. You know, that's one.
Because I think Vinny Paz from Jello Mind Tricks, he's quite like active on Twitter, and he's quite funny. He just strikes me as like a real like miserable bastard, but, like, in a really funny way. Like if somebody like comments on it, he just shuts them down instantly, calling them like really like dated insults like jabroni and stuff. It's just quite funny. But he said something similar. He was just like, oh, like fakes out here saying like, oh, ashamed to say they got a 9 to 5. Like aspiring up and coming rappers who aren't even going to make it, and they're like knocking work, like honest hard work, like it's a bad thing. It's like no, like be fucking proud of what you do.
I would rather listen to that than some fucking rap about like money and cars and pussy.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think there's room for all of it, but I think honesty is like what kind of stands us out from the US at times, and that's not. And again, you know, that's back to the kind of like underground versus mainstream conversation. But I think it's an attitude thing. But anyway, what are we talking about today?
So you've listened to us babble on for long enough, and you're just like, where the fuck is the second part of the one we're talking about? Where's part 2 of the podcast? So this is part 2 of our streetwear fashion, hip hop fashion through the eras. Been really looking forward to talking about this because it was so hard to refrain from following on from what we were on about before. But I know definitely I don't have the attention span to listen to a podcast for more than an hour and a half. But yeah, so let's kick off and let's talk about our next. So this is.
So we're starting from what, like late 2000s, kind of like Pharrell.
Oh man! Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So as Aidan dropped himself in it last week with the whole Pharrell thing, I thought it would be best for him to start the conversation where we left off on our little hip hop fashion through the eras timeline. Yeah.
So I think to last week, if you listened to last week's episode, or maybe you're working your way back to the beginning. So it's unlikely, but yeah, I think we ended last week's episode with me saying that I don't think Pharrell's very influential in today's fashion, and I also said that I think hip hop today is more following sort of skatewear, and then these guys pointed out to me, well, actually Pharrell Williams is quite a big skater. And I was like, oh.
He used to be known as like Skateboard P or something.
Wow. See, I never knew that, and up until now, or up until like we even came up to this subject, I had no thought of Pharrell Williams being part of like streetwear at all. My impression was that it's gone through like hip hop, you know, and then it's gone to like your weird sort of Hollister, Abercrombie and Fitch and that sort of stuff. This is like general sort of fashion trends, and then what's then come about is people getting into sort of like skate fashion. You know, that's when Obey comes about and all that sort of stuff. However, I was then given some like homework. I went away and looked into this because, you know, I can't go into a podcast not knowing fuck all. I've done that for too long. Like every single episode, I know this sort of shit.
You're doing well winging it so far.
But yeah, I looked into it, and turns out Pharrell was quite an influential character. And it goes back to sort of him going over to Japan.
Yeah.
And getting in touch with some of the guys over there and liking some of their stuff, and I saw. So he went over, and he's making beats in who were they with?
Neptunes. NERD was the band he was in.
Right. So then he had this idea that he wanted to go into clothing, and so this is in the noughties.
Mhm.
So then he goes over to Japan. He sees all these clothes that he really, really likes, and what clothes are they?
Babe.
Really falls in love with Babe. I can't remember who it was, but some designer. He goes into their he goes into like a block of like a building, and each floor is like different fucking themes, and one of them's just a massive clothing shop. And he goes and fills up a suitcase with all these clothes, and decides he's going to start up Billionaire Boys Club. Is that what it is? And ice cream.
BBC, yeah. Ice cream.
Yeah.
And it goes on from there, and then it's weird because
full marks, Aidan.
Yeah, man. And I looked into it, and it's like his sort of style has trickled through into like nowadays, you know, and he is a very influential character. I'll give you that. I have no fucking idea until I looked into it, and it's weird because the stuff that he kind of wore, he wore it before everyone else did, like quite a while before everyone else did actually, and then suddenly it comes into fashion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my homework. That is my learnings. You know, I will no longer doubt Tom and Jake.
Because his look's really kind of versatile, isn't it? It's he's kind of like a preppy look.
Yeah,
he can carry off like a skate look.
Yeah.
He just and as you said, he's influenced a lot of like modern artists. You know, you see it now, and people like Chance the Rapper and like Tyler the Creator, and back in the day it was kind of Kanye. I think Jake mentioned like the pink polo beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Kanye dropped it with polos and backpacks.
But yeah, that was a weird one when Kanye first came on the scene, like dressed all preppy like that. I think that was really a turning point.
If you watch something I always watch on YouTube and never get bored of it is the Def Jam poetry sessions. The Kanye one, there's three where Kanye goes on there, and it's the first one where he does All Falls Down.
Yeah.
And what he's wearing then is like, actually it might, I don't think, no, it's not the first one, it's the second one where he comes on wearing the polo shirt. He's got like maybe like a Louis Vuitton backpack on.
Yeah.
Like this kind of long brown kind of, I don't know the name of the coat, but one of them, and it's that kind of, if you think Kanye back then, that's the style.
Yeah.
That's the style you think of. But yeah, very Pharrell influenced.
But I think we touched upon it as well. It's quite strange how there's sort of like this divide, because the earlier UK hip hop stuff, you know, that doesn't, you don't see any of that.
No.
You know, none of that kind of floats through into UK hip hop, and that's where my point came from last week's episode, that UK hip hop was very much just sort of skatewear, just like cheap sort of skatewear, 2K Max, New York, that sort of thing, you know. And I was quite surprised when I looked into it and saw his
Fuck knows what that little noise was then, but I apologise.
and saw his influence, and then it's mad because he did sort of brick the way for a lot of other people, and then like you said, you touched upon Tyler the Creator, who I don't think Supreme would be what it is now if it wasn't for Tyler the Creator.
Didn't he have a falling out with Supreme at one point? I think that's why he used to always rock their stuff back like in 2010, 2011, and then he went off to like set up Golf Wang, didn't he? But
on Supreme, the funniest thing, right? Obviously they collabed quite recently with Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
If you go back to the early noughties, where obviously we're picking up and starting from, I can't remember what Supreme done with. It might have been something to do with the LV pattern, but Louis Vuitton sued them. They didn't want anything to do with them. Like, you know, so you go back to the early 2000s, and you know they couldn't be more separated. And then you come to now, and they're doing like all these collabs. But
yeah, you find that with a lot of these kind of like independent brands that first came out of like, you know, anarchy. It was all like, you know, like brands like Stussy and Supreme and Fucked. It was all kind of like counterculture. It was never supposed to like take off into the mainstream, and it's just ended up doing not so much Fuck, because that still lives mainly in the underground. But Stussy and Supreme, especially Supreme. I mean, what am I looking at now? It looks like like Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees hockey mask. Is that a collab with Louis Vuitton?
It's a Supreme collaboration with Louis Vuitton Gimp mask.
Gimp mask. Bring out the Gimp. I mean, sleeping.
Well, bring out the Gimp. I think the Gimp's sleeping.
Supreme is a weird one for me because I know how popular it is, but it's got to that point now for me where I'm really pissed off seeing it.
I think we touched upon this.
I'm really it's really not doing it for me. It's everywhere. They're fucking putting that logo on anything and everything, and and it's really annoying. Like they put it on the brick and it sells for like loads, and you know you got people. I saw a video the other day of the Soho store in London. Someone stole the Supreme sign and put it all over the internet, thinking like they're not going to get caught. Like, you fucking idiots.
I think I saw that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole hype kid kind of vibe about it annoys me a bit, and now it's just like it's too everywhere, and it's like and then I've seen Louis Vuitton today have now put their logo on fucking Jenga blocks and made their own version of Jenga.
I saw that, mate. Do you think that's
for
what
like
they're trying to do
£2,000?
then? Do you think that Louis Vuitton are going down towards like the what
lowest common denominator.
What
like,
Supreme was. Like Supreme had fucking like
it's different.
crowbars, Supreme crowbars.
It's kind of different though, because I touched upon it last week, where you've got Supreme's kind of like born streetwear brand, like James Jebbia back in the 90s, and it was kind of, I don't think he even like. It wasn't even like a registered company until like fairly recently, really. Yeah, it wasn't. He didn't actually register the logo Supreme until more recently. But when you got Louis Vuitton, it was already like a well-established high-end brand. It already existed before it had the association to urban culture and streetwear, unlike Supreme. But it almost kind of goes against what it initially stood for. And I don't. Apparently, James Jebbia hates the resale market though. Like he fucking hates it, because you do have all these, you know, all these little goons buying all the stuff for like, you know, like fucking 200 quid for a t-shirt.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, a video to watch. Go on YouTube. I think it's promoted by StockX, but you know, I only briefly saw it, so I don't know who was in it or what. But he's basically he's on Fairfax in LA, so that's where the Supreme store is, I think. And then maybe he's also in New York as well. But anyway, so you've got all these like hype beasts like walking around Supreme tops and, you know, BBC whatever, and you know all these brands. And then he's going up to him. He's like, yeah, you know, sick Supreme top, blah blah blah. They're like, yeah, nice. And he's like, so you know, well, you know, tell me a bit about Supreme. And they're like, you know, I don't know. It's like, how much do your outfit cost? A few $1,000s.
Yeah, it's just
and he's there like, you know, who's the owner of that? Who created Supreme? Who's that? And they're like, you know, I don't know. Yeah. And they're like,
it's like, it's just that like sheep mentality, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, it's weird because like going into kind of icons and wearing that style. We talked about Tyler the Creator, and I think like Golf Wang kind of does ape the Supreme box logo. I mean, I do quite like it because ultimately it kind of reflects his personality. Like he's just like a kid with ADHD, and he's pretty crazy. His look isn't exactly subtle. It's all kind of like bright colours, pastels, like. And not anyone can pull it off. It's all about the attitude you have when you're wearing it. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't even attempt to wear something like that. But then like the kind of antithesis of that is someone like a Kendrick Lamar. And I want to touch upon him a little bit because he, like being kind of the old boy of the podcast, right? My look is a little bit more kind of like mature, and I think that he carries off that look really, really well. And he's always kind of an advocate where only wear like one branded piece of clothing. Like maybe like a logo on the t-shirt, nothing else, or maybe just like your Reebok sneakers.
Oh really? And everything I didn't do that.
Yeah, because it's just like you don't want, as Jake said, you know, hype beast kids, brands.
Yeah.
You just look like a fucking walking.
That's why I really like the styles of like your J. Cole's and your Kendricks. Like,
yeah, man.
Like they're some of the best styles. It's really just like this is me, and I'm not trying to be anything else. It's like it suits me.
It's a real modest look in it. So subtle tones like greys, blacks. Maybe like a nice kind of like bomber jacket to give a bit of contrast.
I know what you mean with overdoing the brands. I remember I was in like Bristol a couple of years ago, and I was just in sort of the main high street, and I saw these three girls like walk like they can't be any like older than like 14, but they're wearing full like Elise like full like leggings, jumper, body warmer, jacket, like baseball cap. And like bags as well, like the little what do you call them? The little satchels.
Yeah.
And I was just like literally all three in one. I was just like looking like what?
It's amazing how that brand goes full circle.
It's weird how brands do go full circles. I mean, I used to wear all that stuff in like year 6 and year 7.
And then go back a few years.
It was just like you go to like what was it like JB Sports, JJB Sports and all that kind of stuff, and it wasn't like oh wow this is a streetwear brand, man. It was just like no, it's just fucking sportswear because you don't have a fashion sense, and now it's in fashion and it's
I would say it went out. It wouldn't be something you'd be caught dead wearing. It was, you know, I don't know what you associate it with, but just like low end. It was Alessi and
and
then it's
Kappa as well.
Yeah, Kappa as well.
Yeah,
you know, Kappa and Alessi
and Fila.
And Fila,
a massive comeback. Like, have you seen the new shoes they do? Like the big
Fila,
shoes.
So I think Fila had a bit of a resurgence with like the kind of like football hooligan scenes. You know what I mean? Like all the kind of 80s football hooligan films, and everyone was rocking that, and thinking that the dog's bollocks because they wear Fila.
It's weird because with sportswear and with streetwear, especially today. I think it's very much so people will, you know, follow a trend, follow a brand, and then you get maybe a handful of people that are just like, actually, I want to wear something different. So I found this other like sort of fresh like Kappa, filler. And then they start wearing it, and then it sort of grows, and then you get that brand just gone fucking like ape shit, and everyone's wearing that, and then people are just like, okay, this is getting a bit bait now. What's the next one? This is when fucking Slazenger comes back.
Slazenger, Jesus Christ, head.
Oh,
Head.
mate,
Jesus Christ, but I mean,
imagine.
it's just like, I wish I hung on to my kind of like 12-year-old self's wardrobe, probably like make a few quid on Depop.
Yeah, you would, man.
It's nuts, man.
Going back to Kendrick, it's shoe collaboration, because you mentioned Reeboks, and you collabed with Reebok a couple of times on the Reebok Classics, and they were like some really sick. I remember the first collab he did with it was more to kind of like bring the whole Compton, Bloods, Crips, so he had like red and blue on each of the back of the shoes.
That was dope, man.
Collab with Nike on the Cortez, which is a massive shoe, which we didn't actually mention in the last episode, but when you think West Coast hip hop 90s, like I think like Nike Cortez is like actually a shoe of that era. But
I used to have a red Cortez hoodie back in the day.
Mate, the white and red Nike Cortez are just a standard shoe. But anyway, yeah, Kendrick collabed with them and did the indoor shoe / slipper. I don't know why I called it the indoor shoe. It's a slipper, but you probably could wear it outdoors. But yeah, so like Kendrick's like someone you wouldn't really think. Like, he's not like your A$AP Rockies or your Kanye's or your Skeptors or whatever.
He's more subtle, isn't he?
Yeah, he is more subtle.
I was going to talk about this point. So the reason why I like his sense of style is because his, like, obviously we talked about, kind of what you wear as a statement, and it goes hand in hand with like the music you make, the kind of artist you are.
Yeah.
Like Kung Fu Kenny, Kendrick Lamar, he is such a talented MC. He's kind of a modern day poet. He is, he's held to high esteem, right? He doesn't really have to prove himself. Mm-hmm. So I feel that it's like a nice contrast that he's like quite subtle with what he wears. Mm. It's almost like the talent speaks for itself. And then the stark contrast of that is like someone like Tekashi 6ix9ine, mumble rapper, flash in the pan, know that obviously he's going to fucking prison, but like knowing that like he needs to hold on desperately to his 5 minutes of fame. You get the multicoloured hair, the grills, the chains, like the furs. It's just, it's like the equivalent of having like a micro penis and driving a Range Rover. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly the outfit that you're talking about. It's like, they'll have the, like you say, the grills, the chains, the bandana, the t-shirt, the jacket, the bag, the dreams, the chains, the belts, then the shoes. It's literally as many fucking brands as like expensive, shelfy, flashy brands.
Look at me, because I don't have any other talent, so I need to overcompensate. That's all it is, right? And I'm sure there were exceptions to that. I'm not like shitting on the whole like mumble rap scene. I kind of am, but whatever. But I really like Kendrick's fashion sense because it is just like really kind of like subtle. It shows that he is quite humble. That's another like good little reference to his. To his
I like that.
But yeah, I just think like in a nutshell, less is more. That's kind of the clean look I quite like.
Yeah. Quite agree. Yeah. If you look at some of the better rappers in the game, you think of Eminem. Like he pretty much wears just a pair of. Probably some sort of Nikes and what does he wear, like Kangol hat?
Kangol hat, yeah.
And throwback to the early days, isn't it?
Throwback to LL Cool J.
But it's more of like a it's not quite the bucket hat, is it? It's like a little cap.
It's like a little cap, yeah.
He always wears the same thing.
He always wears the same, yeah, and a can of Red Bull in his hand. And like Dre, that's like modern day Eminem.
And Dre as well, like on the Defiant Ones documentary.
All he wears is Air Force Ones.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
Really like modest looking.
And black t-shirts, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
That's sick though, because it's just like you don't need to make a statement. You're Dr. Dre. Do you know what I mean? Like you're Kendrick Lamar, you're Eminem.
Yeah.
You have that kind of talent to back yourself up. You're self-assured.
I think that's quite good. I think, to be fair, and also slightly off topic, I think it is. I read something that it is actually important for someone to adopt a personal sort of uniform.
Yeah.
So not like saying like fucking walk around in a suit and tie, but if you have your own sort of thing, like when you get a bit older and you get a bit more, I don't know, like successful or whatever, if you just kind of like wear, because I would happily walk around and have like the same fucking pair of like trousers, like 10 of them, and 10 white t-shirts, 10 hoodies or 10 sweatshirts.
Classic
and just
look.
like living that, mate.
Yeah,
100%.
I know what you're saying. I think it's just like it's almost like an insecurity thing for some people. It's having that something to associate themselves with.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh right, yeah, I don't have a personality necessarily, so I'm going to grow a beard. I'm going to get loads of tattoos. I'm going to like, oh, sorry, Aidan. Just describing Aidan right now. I'm only joking. Aidan's got a fantastic personality. No, but do you know what I'm saying? It's typically the way things are. Like people cling on to something because it gives them like a sense of like self-worth, and I get that because everyone has their kind of like you know, everyone has their own kind of ways, insecurities and whatnot.
I'm really insecure, Tom.
no, but
do you know what the best outfit is? I've got a pair of Route 1 tracky shorts, and if I could wear them every day I would, and I'd wear that with a baggy white t-shirt and just a sick pair of sneakers.
Tracky shorts are cushy, man.
And that'd be literally my outfit.
Should we make a statement as of now? Should we just like wear whatever the fuck we want? The same outfit every day, like stains and t-shirts and.
Louis Vuitton. I think, you know, we touched upon this in the last episode, and we said how they were very much. They had their, you know, they had their market, and they were going to sell to very much just probably just white middle class people. That was kind of their audience, and you know, that's just what it was. Move on to now. You know, and also they didn't really want to maybe associate with it urban or hip hop or streetwear or things like that, but you know, hip hop and all that wanted to associate with Louis Vuitton. Flip side, now we're here. What we've got is, you know, all they want. We're the loudest voice on the planet now, hip hop. So all these brands are now cottoning on quite, you know, conveniently. To these brands.
So don't fall for it.
Yeah, but I'm just going to say, Louis Vuitton. I think the best thing that's happened is Virgil moving in as that head of whatever he is at Louis Vuitton, and I think, sorry.
So I was just going to say, Louis Vuitton, we will endorse your clothes as well if you.
Oh yeah,
yeah, by all means.
I think some of the stuff that's come out over
for
the
legal
last
reasons, I take back everything I said about you.
Some of the stuff that's come out in the last week is actually like really, really sick from that Virgil collection.
So those headphones.
I saw it all, man. Like the bag, and he's the first black designer in a high end like a high end brand.
That's
working,
really cool.
Yeah, and that you know that's that typical Louis Vuitton kind of duffel bag that you see. Have you seen the one that he released?
Mate, it is mad.
It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
Have you seen it, Tom?
No.
Yeah, have a look at. I don't know if you have or not. Someone sent it on the group chat, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, this is fucking mental. I don't know if you can kind of get the whole collection up as well, because all of it is just like. But yeah, it is really nice stuff. And you know, if I had the money to fucking buy, of course I would. But I wouldn't drape myself head to toe like some of these people and just overdo it. Like, you know, there's.
It just reminds me of that, another Simpsons reference where Homer sees like the world's greatest jacket.
Yeah.
And then like Marge is just like, anyone who feels the need to buy that jacket must have some like major emotional problem. And then Homer just barges through. He's like, oh, I want it. He's like, if I had that jacket, I'd show everybody.
I'm trying to find a picture of it, but I can't. I'm struggling.
I think another like unlikely fashionista for me is like Mr. Bam Bam Baklava, Action Bronson, because like my mate texted me the other day and he described him perfectly. He was like, this dude has like fat man swag. Do you know what I mean? Like he dresses so appropriately for his size, and because obviously he's like you know Queen's native. He always wears like the fresh kind of like Carhartt, Ralph Lauren, the kind of oversized like probably like. I don't know, XXXXXXL. He's a big dude. Do you boys watch Fuck That's Delicious?
I've watched a couple of episodes now actually. He dresses fresh. I mean, do you know if I say if I can get away with it, to be honest, mate, I mostly just wear Dickies. Dickies is the most comfortable.
Dick.
Yes, I wear Dick, Jake. Cheers, mate. But like I've got about 10 Dickies t-shirts, like half in white, half in black. And these Dickies trousers that I'm wearing at the moment, mate, I fucking live in them because they're so comfy, and plus they look quite smart as well. You know, this is all I wear to work. You know, you can get away. I like how I love workwear, man. That's probably my thing, workwear, because you can just look like fresh, but it's comfy and it's good quality as well. You know, it's not just gonna fucking rip, man. It's nice. I'm getting
depends where you shop, man. Yeah. No, there's a lot to be said for like. Are we talking like a suit?
Look at some of these crazy. Sorry, just go on that.
Damn, man. What jacket is that?
Like.
So this is like we're like currently looking at like a rainbow sort of multicoloured trench coat. Who's that, Jake?
I'm still just trying to find the fucking bag that I'm on about. but I don't know what I've got to type in.
I wouldn't know what you have to search. But, I mean, he is coming up with some really cool stuff. And it's, like you say, Jake, it is cool that he's the first black person to be a designer that high up. Isn't Will.i.am a designer?
Yep.
Will.i.am, I don't know, what clothes has he done? Because he's like an entrepreneur, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got.
I don't know.
Fingers in a lot of pies. But then you could argue that a lot of like, you know, kind of rap stars have had like their own like clothing labels and stuff before Virgin. But I guess it's like a different thing entirely, isn't it? Like fashion designer and stuff, because you never know. Like, do you think that? And I'm you know, correct me if I'm wrong. I do not know. But people like you know, P Diddy and I'm trying to think of someone else. You know, like a famous rapper. How much were they involved in actually designing the garments and the clothing, or they just put their name on it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's like the Air Jordans, isn't it?
Just endorsements.
You know, like Michael Jordan, he didn't actually design any of it. He just kind of gave the okay, didn't he?
Yeah, it's nuts. But like with Dre, for example, with like Beats headphones, he only endorsed it because it's a product he was like fully behind.
Yeah.
Like he's really well known for like not putting his name on anything. Like Jimmy Iovine like came to him on so many occasions. Was like,
really?
Yeah. Do you want to endorse this piece of clothing or that or this, that, and the other? And he's just like, no. He's just not interested unless he's like completely invested in it.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool.
I saw as well. It was Paris Fashion Week this last week, and
did you go?
No. Do you know what, man? I really want to go. I would love to go to Paris Fashion Week. Again, guys.
I'd look so out of place in Paris Fashion Week, man.
I love it, mate. I'm not a very fashionable person, I don't think, and I really couldn't give a fuck about having like expensive clothes and expensive shoes, but I really appreciate just like, this probably sounds really fucking weird, but I appreciate like looking at it, man, and I love like just thinking like looking at clothes and just like, yeah, man, that's fresh as fuck. I wouldn't buy it because I wouldn't fucking pay that much money for that, but to wear it, like shit like that, but I can appreciate it as sort of like, I see it as more of an art form.
Yeah. Because there's basically like clothes hangers, aren't they? Like it's just for like, I don't think it's for designers to showcase what would actually be like, you know, sold at retail.
Yeah.
It's just like the concept that they're presenting, isn't it? It's just like, look, here you go. This is kind of like this season. What they're wearing is just going to be kind of like.
Sorry, I just found the video.
Look.
What video is this, Jake?
Jake's been looking for this video for about half an hour. But that is sick, to be fair.
What video am I looking at? Oh, so this is the video of the
glow bags.
So it's like,
the name they've been given.
What we're looking at is a video of a guy walking in the dark, holding one of this, just underselling it, but no, he's holding a bag. It's quite a cool bag actually. It's like multicolored colour but glow in the dark. Fair fucking play to him. Like that's a sick bag.
Just changing it up a bit from what you would normally think of Louis Vuitton to that coming out. It's just completely different.
Yeah. The only thing is though, you've always got to be in the dark when you wear it, when you carry it.
That's true.
You'd have to wear it on the busy streets because I think it's reflective as well. So probably when you need the headlights. I don't think it's glow in the dark. I think it's more that when light hits it reflects.
So you've got to wear it. You've got to carry it in the dark. And you've also got to carry it whilst walking in the middle of the road.
Not in the middle of the road,
get,
but like
full use out of it. Yeah.
It'd probably be quite good for like cyclists, like just so you can see where they are.
It's a hold. You can't cycle and hold a hold.
I don't know.
Sorry, Jake, I'm not like shooting you down.
I don't work for Louis Vuitton, mate. I'm not here to sell anything.
Let's face it, none of us are going to be able to afford that shit anyway. So
no, unless this podcast blows up.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
Boys, hip hop. Who has the best of modern day hip hop? Who's got the best fashion sense or best fashion, best style?
I personally think someone like Kendrick, just because it's like more modest. And Action Bronson, man, I think he looks dope as fuck, man. I think he's got mad swag.
I've probably got two.
Go on then.
And
I know where this is going.
Yeah, you know this. So what? Okay, my first one is probably Lil Kana. Because
that's a good shout.
He like dresses very smart. He doesn't dress flashy. Like I don't think I've ever seen. I couldn't name any of the brands that he wears apart from Burberry, but he wears like quite sort of fresh, smart stuff. And also, which I think this is really fucking cool, and you know who I'm gonna say. But he's sort of breaking into the fashion scene, and actually this leads on to my point that I made about 20 minutes ago about him being at the fashion week. Skepta. Skepta is breaking into sort of fashion, and
do you know what I find really funny? You know, I put it all in the bin because that's not me.
What? Well, there's some. So, mate, I'm going to show you some pictures now. You can't even fucking see that, but this is Skepta. one of his styles. So he's wearing like a check pair of trousers with a black overcoat and quite a cool sort of rounded sunglasses with like a bucket hat as well. You know, I think he's a very well dressed guy. And he's wearing some fresh stuff.
Pretty
and he's someone that I appreciate him a lot as a sort of artist, because he's like, I really like it when his artist turned entrepreneur.
I love Skepta, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Really love Skepta.
And kind of goes in and starts like making stuff happen. Like Bugs in Below has just come out with his own clothing line as well. So he's released his own sort of line of, it's sort of like sportswear. And sometimes it's quite nice. The fucking stuff, mate, it's all sold out already.
Really?
Yeah, because he's got such a big... This is the thing as well, which is a really good marketing tool, is, you know, you can use your social media as sort of an influence, you know? And obviously you're going to want to sell your shit, so there's nothing wrong with that at the end of the day, really is there? So he's like... So he made some nice sort of like... It was, I think it was like sort of tracksuit shell shoots and a lot of like t-shirts. I'm not sure if there are any shoes. There are probably shoes to come, but that was some...
I would say
stuff.
it might be worth maybe doing a first poll on Twitter or something, but if an artist puts his name to some clothing, whether that's their own brand of clothing coming out or a collaboration with clothing, I'm more likely to want to buy it or be interested in it. If it's an artist I like, that is.
Yes, but there's also one thing that they've got to be very careful of. There's a difference between an artist's clothing and merch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You couldn't just rep merch.
No.
Also, I think to like the point I was making earlier is like it kind of goes in hand what you're saying. If it's an artist that you like, it's if you know that artist actually is invested in the product. Like if you know that it's just someone who's just like putting a name on it and doesn't really have like care about the the final product, then you can tell, man. Do you know what I mean?
You'd be able to tell.
You're happy to support them.
Yeah, exactly. Versus someone who you know is like, oh yeah, that person.
Just what you said there, though, you can't rep merch. I think you can. Honestly, I can't wear them at the moment because it's freezing cold. I'm just going to always wear a jacket over it. But I've got a t-shirt from when I saw Kendrick, t-shirt from when I saw Jay-Z, t-shirt when I saw a hoodie from when I saw Drake. Hoodie from when I saw J. Cole, and I've got a funny story actually. So like I bought this jacket right when I went to see J. Cole, and it's just like this more like raincoat jacket, camo, and on the front it says Neighbours, and on the back it said For Your Eyes Only, for the tour, not the strip club, which people fucking point out all the time. Probably one of the reasons I don't wear it. But anyway, like I washed it and
he doesn't wear it anymore.
I don't wear it because all the fucking shit peeled off the back of it. So yeah, you can't wear J. Cole merch. Shit peels off the back. But I replaced it by just buying.
So you just made Aidan's point for him.
No, what I'm saying is like I do wear like all these t-shirts I've got. I would rep them, and I will in the summer because they're sick t-shirts and they are designed. They're not like your stereotypical merchandise. They are designed to kind of be a bit more than that, and then actually have a bit of like style about them. And
it depends what it's printed on. If it's like Fruit of the Loom, then
Oh mate,
get the fuck out of it.
You know what?
Nobody wears Fruit of the Loom anymore.
For merch, I can only really wear it once because you just know after you wash it that second time, it's not the same.
Yeah,
It's
man.
strong
Yeah.
about two sides.
You got like hand wash that.
yeah.
And who
absolutely.
could be asked to hand wash anything, man?
Exactly,
Come on.
Exactly. So you work at a strip club, Jake?
Fuck off.
He works for tips.
My two artists.
I'm in love with the strippers.
Would you take one for the team, Jake?
Here's your Evian.
Fucking hell, boys. Is this a podcast or is this just all dirt joke?
It's a fucking wind up, mate.
You've been punked. Alright, back to the topic. So
Fashion.
if we're talking fashion and we're talking hip hop, you can't put those two together without mentioning A$AP Rocky.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Good call.
Like, I personally prefer his older style. When I first heard A$AP was way back when Peso video dropped. Sick video, mate. One of my favourite. I think it's just so sick, and I love everything they're all wearing in that. And when you think A$AP, I associate with him with HBA Hood by Air and Pyrex clothing, and that's when I think early A$AP Rocky is that they're the two brands I think, and they're proper streetwear kind of brands, proper kind of I say proper, they were pricey, but it's that's what I think early A$AP.
Do you remember that early A$AP track with A$AP Ferg, Kissing Pink?
Yeah.
Mixtape, man. That track was heavy, man. That's like probably the only track that I still would listen to now. A$AP Rocky.
There's a few of the older
one,
stuff I
actually,
listen to.
one train.
Was
Fucking heavy.
That album's pretty deep, like Goldie, tracks like that. I'd listen to it.
I think it's probably because it was like the worst gig I ever went to was probably ASAP Rocky. Yeah,
really?
In Brixton. Yeah, it was.
Why was that?
It was just shit. I mean, at one point because this whole thing's like purple, like purple drank and all that stuff. And at one point he did tried to do like a rendition of like Purple Rain by Prince. And it was just like totally ad-libbed and everyone just started booing him.
No way, fuck.
Yeah. Did you see that footage as well where he's like being kicked off out in a kebab shop or something in London?
What's up? Should I snuff you right now?
You want it? Go on then.
What's good?
Yeah, you got all my boys around
I don't
here.
give a fuck, nigga. What's up?
Bro, I'm not your nigga, bro.
What's up?
What?
Don't throw shit at my car. You don't know me, nigga.
I know you, bro.
Fuck out of here, nigga. I'll fuck you up, nigga.
Walk on, boy.
Pussy, nigga.
Do one, bro.
Ain't
Bro,
about
this is
myself.
London,
Do
bro.
one.
Calm
I am
yourself
about
I
down.
love London. I love London.
Why are you
I'm
shouting and
just-
making
I'm
a scene,
respect
big boy?
London.
Why you
I
throwing
love
the weight
it.
around,
I
bro?
love London. I love London.
Yeah, calm
I
down. Don't
respect,
throw your weight
nigga.
around
But you don't, nigga. What you mean? I got weight, nigga. See me.
What weight?
What the fuck is you talking about?
Do one.
Bro, what do you mean? Do one.
Man, you pussy too. son.
Get some fit girls in your life, cuz.
Yeah, check it out. It's nuts, man. He like really rises to it as well. You'd think like being a celebrity, people are going to give you some shit from time to time, but yeah, it's really awkward to watch.
But you look at him now, he's someone who can rock anything, and obviously he's got the song Fashion Killer, which mentions, I don't know how many brands, but it literally will probably mention every high-end brand under the sun. I think it's a sick track as well, I really do like it. The videos with him and Rihanna, they're just kind of like walking around the store, basically she's picking out clothes and that. Yeah, it's such a sick song, but I just associate him so much with fashion, probably more than I do hip-hop at the moment.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And he's someone who just rocks any clothes so well.
I agree that I think he does have a really cool style, like all black kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I think he does have a really, really good sense of fashion. And he's a good entrepreneur, probably more than he is like as a musician. In my opinion, like, a lot of people love ASAP Mob. There are, as I said, there are some tracks which I get behind. One Train is like basically a posse cut. You've got like Danny Brown, Action Bronson, like Big Crit,
Yellow Wolf.
What a fucking sick track that is. But I think he's like really kind of leaps and bounds in the fashion game at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Newsflash, by the way. Damian Marley and Junior Gong, he did that collab album with Nas some time ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Just popped up on my phone. He's doing a gig in Bournemouth at the O2 on the 31st of May.
What, Nas?
No, Damian Marley.
Why the fuck am I saying Nas?
Damian
Marley.
Yeah. He did that track As We Enter.
Oh shit.
We'll find it. Yeah. That's,
actually,
big back in the
I
day.
saw Damian Marley at Boomtown, and massive sort of. He was in the. If you've been to Boomtown, the Lion's Den. He was playing there a few years ago, and it was sick to see Damian Marley. I don't know. It just wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It was just more the case of shit. I've seen Damian Marley.
Yeah.
But I would go.
I hate it when it happens though.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's exactly the same as my ASAP story. You're kind of like, that'd be sick to check them out.
Do you know what happened to me this week? I forgot to mention at the start when we were doing our catch up on the week, but so we put on Instagram not long ago the Air Max 2s that were coming out. I think they were called the Blue Lagoons. They're the more teal colour ones. And anyway, I thought they were a really fresh pair of shoes. Really liked them. So I thought, and then End emailed me, End Clothing, which I bought a few things from, and I always enter their competitions for sneakers, always, and I never fucking win. But this one I entered. So I entered it, and it was one of those where if they pick you, they basically put your order through because it's going to be quite a high release and quite hard to get hold of. So I entered it, and then a day later I thought, actually, I can't really afford the £100 coming out right now. I'd rather just probably not buy them. I'm not really that interested anymore. So I cancelled it, but I never got an email confirmation saying it's cancelled. So I cancelled about 5 times, and I thought it must have cancelled by now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just completely forgot about it. And then literally I'll get this email come through like, oh Jake, congratulations, you've won the draw, we're shipping out your size 7 shoes now, we're taking money.
So it's not really, it's a competition because it's obviously limited stock.
Yeah.
But you still pay for the shoe.
You still pay for the shoe. It's not a competition like that. It's just you've got these shoes where they're really hard to get, and rather than sitting in waiting rooms and things like that, to be able to just put your name in and hope that they just put your order straight through is just obviously makes everything a lot easier.
Bullshit, man. Because I saw an advert, End Clothing. I saw an advert on Instagram or Facebook, whatever, saying competition for these shoes, and I was just like, fucking, I'm going to enter competition for shoes, get into it. card details, please, because
Yeah.
you got paid to. I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah, it's not really a
It's not
competition.
really a competition,
It's
then,
more
it's
just
like-
make the ease of buying them because they're going to be a bit of a difficult release. But you know, I'm not slagging N clothing off because I literally just went on the app and cancelled it and they refunded money like pretty much immediately.
up N
Like,
clothing.
yeah, big up N. I've got nothing against them. It's just
They
sod
do-
law
they're nice, they have
that
nice
the
clothing
one
now.
time I don't want them, I fucking win them.
Yeah.
And they emailed me today saying that the Air Max 720s are coming out and they're a shoe I've been raving about since Air Max Day last year when I bought the 270s. And I'm like, I'm just gonna wait, but that's another
Straight,
thing.
these
Yeah,
2
same,
days
man.
going straight over my head.
So, like, we've talked about like fashion through the eras. We talked about like contemporary artists and who we like and who we think's like doing good things at the moment with streetwear. Where do you think the fashion's going in the future? Like, where do you, obviously we tend to repeat certain trends and certain things that happen.
Yeah.
Where do you see kind of like, you know, street culture going in, like streetwear going in the next, say, decade?
I think that it goes very much with, for me, from what I've seen, it goes very much with music. You know, as we've said before, fashion and music go hand in hand. So I would say in the UK at the moment, you can always tell like what's going to go ahead, what the trends are by what's being sold in shops like Zara, Topshop, etc. and that sort of thing, because they, you know, they'll do whatever's in trend.
They basically just like emulate everything, don't
Yeah,
they?
and one thing is like a lot of brands will plan their clothes like 2 years in advance, so they'll predict what's going to happen 2 years in advance, and you know that's why you get some stuff that are fucking cop outs.
Imagine having that job though, like forecasting
Yeah,
trends.
but then this is one thing. I don't know if you
Love
know
that
about
job.
this, but Zara, their turnaround to get a new item of clothing, like from designed to like made in shop, is I think it's like something like 6 weeks.
Really?
So you think about how quickly like some celebrity wears something, and then there's that peak, and then bam,
Yeah.
it's in
I
shop.
always think you can look at if you want to know what's going to happen in fashion, look to the high end brands, look to what they're doing, and then
Because they have the more money to invest in that kind of stuff.
take
don't
bits
they?
from that, and then literally what other brands will do is they'll replicate it to the point where your average Joe can buy almost similar looking stuff, not to the quality or identical stuff, but you know, if you look at the Yeezy season, for example, it's all baggy clothing and that kind of torn look, kind of almost the homeless style. If you look at that Yeezy season, but you ain't gonna spend the fucking $600 that Kanye wants for a hoodie.
No.
So what you'll get is your top mans and that they'll just replicate the baggy kind of the hoodies. A key example is you see like people like Kanye, wearing old like Led Zeppelin t-shirts, and then what do you see? Topshop. Every girl out there has probably got like a Led Zeppelin t-shirt. You know, they've never listened to Metallica or Led Zeppelin or anything, but they rock the merch. But that's because Kanye, to the point I made earlier about you can wear merch. I think you see Kanye walking around in all these old band t-shirts and the way he wears it and that. It looks cool.
Do you think it's weird when like it backfires though? You know, like certain brands, like Burberry, for example, like.
I think Aidan's got a lot to say on Burberry.
15 years ago when it dropped, and it was just like
man.
associated with like chav culture, like Devo,
You alright, Yoon? What you up to?
and you know, like you saw everyone down like the bus station, like repping that with their like sovereign rings and stuff.
Well, we're just going on from that point you said previously about where I think fashion's going to go. I think it's obviously at the moment there's a massive emphasis on sportswear, and I think that's come from sort of grime. And sportswear is actually very fashionable. You can get really nice sort of tracksuits and really nice you know, Nike TMs and all that sort of thing. But then I think what it's going to go into is what you find is a lot of artists now sort of grime's taken off. They have more money to buy nicer clothes, which is where you get the Gucci's and Louis Vuittons and stuff like that. And then what I actually saw today was the classic Gucci shoes, the white with the Gucci like line in the middle. Asda made a replica of those for $10, sold out
Give me a
immediately.
tenner, mate.
Sold out immediately.
It happens
So
all the time. The
I
chunky
think-
shoes.
Oh mate,
What I think is going to
that's
happen now.
oversaturation. That's what happens, right?
What I think is going to happen now is you've got and it's going to be similar to what's happened with Burberry. You're going to have all these like big high-end brands. You know, they're really popular clothes, so all these low-cost brands are going to replicate those.
Yep.
And that's when it's going to go in, and then that's when the value of all these big brands, this is when it starts to drop.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with Burberry. And you know what Burberry did? So they had a fucking... So you've got Burberry was the height of Burberry, known for their trench coats. So So then, like you said, they've got the association with Chav.
Burberry caps, man.
Yeah,
yeah.
and then it went down.
And the polo shirts with the with the collar.
Yeah, man. And then it slowly started to go back up again, which is really good. But you know what happened? They had, I think they had, it was a good few £1 million worth of clothes.
Burnt it, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah, man. They burnt a shit ton of their clothes
because they didn't want it to go on the resale market.
Exactly.
Or something like that. They didn't want. Yeah, they just didn't. Yeah, They just like burnt it.
That must have been a pretty like underground resale market. That was like not pre-internet, but that was like just like early days. That was like before like Depop and.
No, I don't think it was that. Yeah.
No, this was literally last year. This
was
burning
it?
thing.
Oh right, shit.
Yeah.
I was thinking like back years ago when it was associated with Chavs, like.
If you ask me, Burberry's come full back now, and I'd happily rock like a Burberry shirt or a polo shirt. James Corden wears a lot of Burberry, I noticed in his carpool karaoke's. But I think it's just a really smart brand, and I know it used to be really associated with Chavs, and I saw all of that, but now I completely forget that association. I don't think it's there at all. Obviously, I think you can take it to extremes of if you wore a full Burberry cap, like you are going to look like a bit of a bellend.
Yeah.
But
But that's the genius of marketing, though, isn't it? It's just basically pulling a stunt like that and basically hoodwinking everyone to think, all right, how are we going to make this fashionable again? Let's take it back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Who's going to be wearing it? Let's just have a bit of a cull, right? Let's just kind of like stick to the high-end stuff and make it like unattainable for like anyone to buy it on resale, and then wait for it to die down and people forget about it. And now you just have the remnants of that, which is like Devo and stuff like that, and it's looked at quite like ironically. But I think like other brands like Aquascutum as well, that kind of survived it because that was like almost. I always looked at Aquascutum and got quite confused with Burberry, but it is like slightly nuanced in a way.
Yeah. Well, I think we're actually entering a really interesting era where previously
that's so menacing, man.
Where previously
we're gonna have to do a part 3.
No. Where previously, it's celebrities that would have doors closed, and that's where a lot of the influence comes from. But now you've got social media influencers. You can whack a certain brand or something like that on an influencer. They post on Instagram, and fucking within like a few days, that fashion trend started. So I think there isn't going to be sort of one trend. It's just going to be a fucking dive of several trends, and then you're going to have this more sort of which I think would be quite cool. This more sort of diverse world with lots of different trends running. I really want to do this. Hopefully in the next year or so or 2 years, go to Japan.
Yeah, man.
And look at the fashion there.
Same. Because it's so like alien to what I know. Like I think that's like literally the polar opposite of everything that I like.
I think they're in the future, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is like the future, isn't it? I mean, you go. Well, I've never been to Japan. I'd love to go, man. But yeah, you see kind of the fashion over there, and it's next level. But apparently they strive to like have the best in everything. Like apparently the food there is amazing.
Really?
Yeah, like all of that kind of
stuff. Live longer.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I saw on Flatspot recently. Flatspot have now got the face masks. They're actually advertising and they're selling face masks in an English, which I just thought like I got no issue with that. Like, if you want to wear a face mask, you can wear a face mask. Obviously,
is that for like fume inhalation?
It's just it's just clean air.
I guess it like makes more sense if you're like living in China or somewhere.
Where it is heavily polluted. But you don't really need it here. I mean, London, maybe if pollution levels are quite high.
There is an element of like neurosis attached to that. I think I see someone wearing it, I'm like, man, come on.
Yeah, if I see someone wearing it,
you don't need it here. Like
unless we've got clean sea air, man.
Yeah, I know. But there you go. That's just
I think it's becoming more of an accessory now as well.
Yeah. People just wear it as accessory, and it serves no purpose, and it's just kind of almost fucking pointless.
I wear it as a face warmer, but it's quite thin in it. So.
But like, I just think wear what you want to wear.
Yeah.
If you like it, wear it.
And that's the moral of today's podcast.
That's the moral of the podcast.
Podmanity.
Yeah. I mean, are we wrapping up now? I think that man, there's so much to fucking talk about. I can still talk now.
I think it's probably sensible we wrap up, but
there's so much to talk about, and I think in the future we're always going to come back to it.
I just want to point one thing out, which I find fucking hilarious. Just looking on Ambrosia the Heads, and it says Eminem's releasing a new documentary, which will show his hometown of Detroit in virtual reality.
Ooh.
So does that mean you can like explore around Detroit?
Probably more places I'd want to go virtual reality than Detroit, but
I might give a caravan park.
I might give that one a miss.
But, I want to walk my white ass right across 8 Mile.
One thing that I do.
You're on point with the references, man.
One thing that I do just really want to add in there, and
his real name is Clarence.
Regarding the streetwear, is that so you had what happened with Burberry, how it got associated with Chavs, and then obviously went very downhill. Do you think that's going to happen with the likes of Nike and Adidas, where it's been associated very much with grime and possibly sort of links with gang culture as well?
Not so much, because it's I guess it's like fundamental primary purpose is sportswear for sports, for athletes, and always has been. So like first and foremost, that's probably the market, and it's going to keep it afloat. Cool. I think maybe like the streetwear kind of like, you know, the spin on it in terms of like kids wearing it recreationally, not just for sport. Yeah. Possibly, I don't know, but I feel that they're too big to fail, if that makes sense, because they're they're kind of like target market lies within the sporting community. First and foremost. So But do you want to wrap that up, people?
Yeah, man. So we'll wrap it up there. Once again, guys, really hope you enjoyed this episode. Like, subscribe. Please give us a rating on Apple iTunes podcast. Really appreciate that. Hopefully boosts us up, gets more people to listen to us, and then we're going to do this whether or not people listen anyway. But
get involved with the conversations as well. If you want to, talk whatever our topic is each week, get involved. Send us your stuff. Send us your thoughts.
Keen to hear your thoughts. Send us your music. Send us anything at Shotgun the Orcs. That's Twitter and Instagram at Shotgun the Orcs. Anywhere else, I don't know, mate. Are we on anything else? Are we on Facebook? Probably. Maybe not.
We're on Bebo.
We're on Bebo and other redundant platforms.
We would have been 10 years ago.
But yeah, so
longer actually.
Next, normally we don't know what we're talking about next week, but can I say?
Yeah, go for it, man.
So next week's episode, I'm actually fucking buzzing for this one. Next week's episode, the topic is going to be sampling.
Oh man.
So yeah, I know. Hopefully you're all quite excited for that. It'll be a really cool topic just to get into and discuss sampling through hip hop. Or we go into wider? I suppose you kind of have to, don't you?
Definitely, man. I think it's like all about those like obscure samples you hear and you think, where the fuck's that from? Yeah. And then you dig and you find out and it's like, what? So we're going to be covering a lot of cool stuff. But
it's cool how it's like you hear we're going to talk about you hear a song and then it goes back to another song. And it's another song. It's fucking you. Before you know it, you're looking for a cover song of another song.
Exactly.
But yeah, so you probably know what song I'm on about, which I'll refer to more next week in Shotgun the Orcs, the podcast. Thanks, guys.
That's a wrap.
It's been emotional.
Has been very emotional. Safe. Sick. See ya.
Take one for the team.
Go on, Jake.
Fuck off.
When I was at school, I was a fella. Round the bitches, fingering Daniela. Round the bitches, fingering Selena. Round the bitches, fingering Delina.